Misandry and Gynocentrism. I want to talk about these terms because I feel a certain kind of subjective ownership over them, just because I derived them and started using them myself before I ever heard them being used by other people. My history with these words began back in early 2007, when I first started this channel, and I was really into watching videos about the new atheist movement, amongst other controversial topics. And I came across this really bigoted video by this smug, middle-aged atheist woman. I don't remember her name anymore. It might have been Mariana or something. But I remember the title of her video. It was, "Men, Wash Your Hands." It was basically just her complaining about how men are dirty, disgusting pigs who don't wash their hands. I got into an argument with her in her comments section because I was disgusted by her blatant misandry, except that I wasn't familiar with the word misandry at the time. I was very familiar with words like misogyny and misanthropy, and so I instantly recognized that I was lacking an important word that could really help me to get my point across. So I did the logical thing and took some time out to do some research into the linguistic conventions that these words are based on, and pretty soon I was satisfied that the word that I was looking for would have to be misandry, the hatred and contempt for men. But I still couldn't be sure because I couldn't find it in my dictionary, my spell checker didn't recognize it, and when I did a Google search for the term, Google couldn't produce any results with the word misandry in it. But that didn't discourage me. I decided that I really liked the word and that I would continue to use it anyway. Why? Because this experience had been a red pill moment for me, and I wanted to share my new awareness with as many people as possible. I figured that just by using the word misandry, I could wake people up, because they would instantly realize that they had never heard that word before, and they would begin to wonder how that could be, and start to wonder in general. How could language itself be so restricted and so biased? And if so, what does that imply about society? Did someone say Orwellian newspeak? So I started to use the word all the time just for the awareness that it creates. Later on in that same year, I noticed that other people were now using the word. Paul Nathanson and Catherine Young released their book, Spreading Misandry, which got a lot of attention on the internet. And then the website antimisandry.com was born, and pretty soon the word was out. Men, wash your hands. That's a rather gynocentric thing to say, isn't it? At around the same time, and with the same logic, I also derived the word gynocentrism because I was already very familiar with the dictionary endorsed terms like ethnocentrism and androcentrism. I was also familiar with Christina Hoff Sommers' book, The War on Boys, and how the education system treats boys as deficient or defective girls. I knew that ethnocentrism meant judging other cultures by the standards of your own culture, as though the way we do things in our culture is assumed to be the best possible way, or the natural way, or the normal way, meaning that implicitly at least, one's own culture must be superior to all other cultures, because it's the standard by which all other cultures are measured. And I also knew that androcentrism means judging everyone according to masculine standards. So it was obvious to me that with the way that boys are being doped up with Ritalin and doing poorly in the school system, that this could be described as gynocentrism. Given that males and females are different in so many ways, if what is normal for females is viewed as the standard for perfection, then males can never match them. It's just not possible. If women are perfect just the way they are, then men must be inferior, and ditto for those women who don't quite live up to those feminine norms and standards for behavior. Whatever girls are doing, that's the right thing to do. Whatever boys are doing, that's the wrong thing to do. Why? Because it's not what the girls are doing. That's gynocentrism. Ritalin is gynocentric. Ritalin is the blue pill. It's there to kill your creativity. It's there to kill your curiosity. It's there to kill your independence. It's there to break your spirit. It's there to shut you up. Ritalin is a product of institutionalized gynocentrism, but it also reinforces gynocentrism. It reinforces the idea that boys are broken, when in reality, it's the education system that's broken. And the same is true of the justice system. The entire justice system is demonstrably gynocentric. There's no debating that. The only people who would even try to debate that would be feminists. The same feminists who think that we should eliminate prisons for women, but not for men. Most ordinary people are perfectly capable of acknowledging the fact that the justice system is gynocentric, given that they're aware of the facts, and given that they understand the meaning of the word gynocentrism. Men, what is wrong with you? Why can't you be more like women? Women do just fine without testicles, so what do you need your testicles for? Men, why don't you want to get married? Marriage is the best thing since sliced bread. That's gynocentrism. Speaking of understanding the meaning of the word, as I mentioned in my last video, I've noticed that ideological MGTOWs like Barbarossa and Stardust have really run wild with this word and taken it in all kinds of new directions, even constructing an entire ideology based around it. They see it as the root of all evil, and they see it manifest everywhere. They also abuse and bastardize the term to the point where it pretty much loses all meaning. Anything that could conceivably benefit a woman starts to get called gynocentrism. And gynocentrism is a nice word and all, but when you overuse it, it really starts to lose its appeal and its power. I also get the impression that gynocentrism means something entirely different to Barbarossa, Stardust, and the like. Here's an example to illustrate my point. You see, I have this video game that I play called Zombies Run. It's an app for your smartphone which uses your headphones and your GPS to turn going out for a jog into a video game. You pass missions, you collect items, you build a base, you listen to a post-apocalyptic zombie survival drama, and it incorporates your own playlist of music. Oh, and you also have to sprint away from zombies every now and then. So I like to go out for a zombie run at 6 o'clock in the morning because that's when the air is at its cleanest and purest, and coldest, before the morning traffic starts to pollute the air. And also because I get to watch the sky change from night to day, all while running away from zombies and listening to apocalyptic sounding Norwegian black metal. This morning was different though. Normally I just wear running shorts, a tight long sleeve sports sweatshirt, and an undershirt, and normally the temperature is somewhere between +5 degrees and freezing when I go out for a zombie run, which makes it somewhat uncomfortable, especially for the first 5 minutes, but still bearable. I didn't realize it at the time, but this morning it was -8 degrees outside. I ran for 8 kilometers in -8 degree weather, and I'm never going to do that again. That's the equivalent of about 5 miles at 18 degrees Fahrenheit for you Americans. You could say that I was running away from the cold. I was running right through the heart of suburbia with no public places to stop and warm up anywhere close to me. I was running fast and I was fighting hard against the cold, but the cold was winning, slowly but surely. I tested and found my limits this morning, and it could have been really bad. I could have ended up with a bad case of frostbite or even hypothermia. But nothing bad happened. I just tested my own limits and I found them. I already know what the gynocentric point of view is, though. The gynocentric view is that what I did was really stupid. Something that only a man would do. There really was no need for me to battle the elements the way I did. I should have dressed warmer or just stayed indoors. But I survived, I'm healthy, I have no regrets, and I think that I've gained from the experience. But one of these MGTOW ideologues wouldn't necessarily see it that way. They might say that I was actually acting out a gynocentric directive. You see, men are socialized by gynocentric directives to be disposable and to disregard their own health and safety and comfort just so that they could be a better utility to women. And wasn't that exactly what I was doing? I could have died today, frozen to death by gynocentrism. Gynocentrism is everywhere. It's in everything. Well, not for me it isn't. That's not what I mean by gynocentrism. Gynocentrism, to me, is a bias towards feminine values, standards, and norms. And I'll have more to say about this in future videos, so stay tuned.